Hello guys, Colonel Ninny here. I can think of nothing that causes more anger or frustration than to be shot down by friendly fire. No matter what Air Force you belong to, it would still be your responsibility to ensure that you don't shoot your own people. So let's face it, it gets pretty busy out there, especially if you get into a furball like this one. Right away, you have put yourself at an energy disadvantage. If you've seen my tutorial on how to find the enemy and shoot him down, you'll notice that I employ the same tactics here. For you to head straight into a furball like the one just up ahead here, it's certain suicide. This is because you're going to lose the energy advantage, and instead of being able to dive down on an unsuspecting enemy, you're going to be targeted from behind. Watch how I do my visual scan, going sector by sector, looking for movement in that sector. There is somebody behind me there, and if he is an enemy, it's going to be very difficult for me to turn this around so that I have the advantage. I might lose sight of him as I turn around towards him, but he most certainly will not lose sight of me, as I turn in a nice slow arc that he can anticipate. But I had my testosterone pill today, so I'm going to go back in the fray. I've lost sight of the guy that was behind me now. There's another aircraft left to right. If that's friend or foe. Friend or foe. BF 109. Identifying aircraft from behind or in front is very difficult. The preferred and surest method is to be up high, looking down at the plan view of the aircraft. And this means you also have the energy advantage and can choose to attack if you wish. This enemy aircraft is stalled out, so I can't tell what he's going to do. Once you've identified the aircraft as an enemy, keep him in sight. Don't take your eyes off him, except to look around to make sure you're not going to be targeted next. He's under attack, but he's smoking. And he is done. Always get into the habit of climbing away after every maneuver. Identify your target, separate it from the herd, and go for the kill. And while I'm paying attention to this guy, who's watching my 6? I can kill or be killed. It's difficult to do one and avoid the other. And never forget that you could become that same fireball that you've just watched if you fail to keep a good lookout. Okay, now that I've been hit, what are my options? I can no longer be offensive, so I can only be defensive. My instinct tells me to run, but I don't have the energy state, because I'm too low, or the power to get away from him. The outcome is inevitable. I'm also too low to bail out and parachute down. The only thing I can do here is to land this aircraft as quickly as possible and get out. I know he's coming back in for the kill. I'm going to sideslip and turn at the last moment. And more by luck than skill, we got it down on the ground. So we have one damaged aircraft instead of one destroyed and one dead pilot. To practice aircraft identification, fly with the icons off until you think you've identified the aircraft, then press the I key to turn it on briefly to confirm if you're right or wrong. So how would World War II pilots have learned to recognize other aircraft before it was too late? There were numerous ingenious methods. One of them was the Wefts System developed by the Royal Air Force. The concept was simple. Every aircraft has 4 distinguishable components: wing, engine, fuselage, and tail. And by recognizing these shapes and combinations, the aircrew had a good chance of being able to recognize friend from foe. Aircrews studied and were tested on these aircraft identification silhouettes. As repetition is the key to visual learning, aircrews were also given playing cards with the aircraft on them. Once the aircraft had been identified, the aircrews would make note of the markings and the camouflage, and this would be useful information for the debrief after the flight. This could tell the intelligence officers a great deal about which units were involved and where they might be located. So let's review friendly fire. It more often than not happens unintentionally. It can also happen when you're flying dangerously close to your teammate. And it can happen as a team kill, an intentional and unprovoked attack by a teammate. Yes, and we all know at least one pea-brained, inbred, tiny-penised, untalented, myopic moron for whom bullying was invented, who cannot lead, cannot follow, cannot even screw things up properly. May 1,000 camels defecate between their refrigerators on their parents' front lawn. But I digress. Here I have an enemy on my tail, but I have far more energy than he does, so I'm just going to keep pulling up and up and up and hope that he stalls out before I do. If not, I have to do a snaky maneuver at the top and run. Run, Simba, run! I have a very fast airplane because I have the minimal amount of fuel on board. Fuel is heavy. This allows me to climb faster and dive faster than my opponent. Check out my fuel load versus performance video for more details. It looks like he's decided not to pursue me, and so I'm going to go back and I'm going to shoot him down instead. I had put myself in a position where I was at a disadvantage. Now I've got the advantage back, and I'm going to make the most of it. Doing things that keep you alive is a smart strategy. Never be shy about running away to fight another day. So long as you come back and fight, of course. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the unfriendly skies, and by the way, what is that aircraft that I'm following? As always, if you've enjoyed this video, found it helpful, please like it or subscribe, or if there's another topic you'd like me to cover, please leave a comment. Thank you, guys.